UFO in the sky, skinwalkers in the night. Nietzsche look, a scary book, between some moose bones. Sasquatches everywhere. Little people, a bit too evil, between some moose bones. I'm scared of everything. Chupacabras makes you nauseous, between some moose bones. With MC Red Cloud.
Moose Bumps, Scary Stories from the Res presents Breaking Windingo, based on the Bigfoot legends of the Coeur d'Alene tribe. The sun crawled across the evening sky, sending down shimmering light rays across a large pond near Danielle, Marcus, and Irene's camp. On a whim, the three of them decided to pitch a tent on the outskirts of the res, just a few miles off. Between school and the ever-encroaching prospect of adulthood, this trip couldn't have come at a more opportune moment. Marcus was gathering firewood from their van. Danielle was at camp preparing everyone's fishing lures. And the pond had a great fish this time of year. Irene was sightseeing as if she hadn't seen it all before. But whatever made her happy, Danielle wasn't going to complain. Tourism had kicked up around the res, with people coming in from all places descending on Coeur d'Alene, Idaho to catch a glimpse of the legendary Bigfoot. A local tabloid had published an article claiming that the great beast had been seen around by a local. Danielle thought it was all stupid. She knew there was no such thing. They were only stories. She giggled at the thought that people spent money to be used for other things to come all the way here just to search for a mythical creature. At least it broke up the monotony around here. "What time is it?" Marcus said, carrying firewood he had collected from the forest. His breaths were a bit labored. Danielle told him he bought too much from the surplus store, but he went on and on about making the perfect s'mores. "It's 7:30. Danielle's response was flat. She was preoccupied getting everyone's fishing gear in order. Once she finished, she rewarded her efforts with a big swig from her canteen. Water is life. Irene finally emerged from the forest long enough to help Marcus start a fire. It would be dark soon, and they needed warmth. Marcus was determined to start the fire by striking rocks together, while Irene groaned about just using her lighter. Marcus says he wanted to feel like a true outdoorsman. Irene rolled her eyes while Danielle patiently waited for the fire to start. I mean, to his credit, it didn't take him nearly as long as everyone thought it would. Still took a while though. However, as night grew colder, the roaring fire kept everyone warm. And more importantly, now Marcus could have his s'mores. "Hey guys, there's a few candy bars missing and the food looks like someone just rummaged through it," Marcus said while digging through his pack for more chocolate bars. Danielle hadn't noticed anything out of the ordinary, and she'd been there the whole time. Upon closer inspection, she noticed the bag of food had a hole in it, and several chocolate bars were just gone. "Weird, I didn't notice anything," she said. "Hey, maybe your bag had a hole in it," Irene said. "The bag had no holes." Marcus shot her a playful look of astonishment. "Well, it's probably forest critters. Don't even worry about it." "All right," Irene and Marcus said, almost in unison. A few hours had passed. Crickets were chirping and the fire was beginning to die. Marcus threw in a few more logs to keep it going. The trio had decided that night fishing was as good as day fishing. They had their fishing lures floating near the deep end. A few nibbles here and there, but no fish. Guys, did you hear the elders were thinking about selling Bigfoot caps and selling Bigfoot mugs to get some profit from all this tourism? Irene asked. Hey, why not? If all these stupid people are willing to throw their money away, I say take it. Danielle recast her lure out into the deeper end of the pond, and it landed with a great splash and kerplunk. Hey, you're gonna scare away all the fish, Marcus said, with a mouthful of s'mores and gooey marshmallow running down his chin. Wipe your face, Marcus, Danielle said. Besides, we're not gonna catch any fish. We don't have the right bait. What? We've got good bait. Irene rolled her eyes at the suggestion that cheese wasn't a good bait. We've been fishing for almost an hour, and we haven't caught anything, Danielle said. You just gotta be patient, that's all. Irene leaned against the tree, moving her back against it as if to scratch an insufferable itch. Ooh. Hey guys, did you hear that? Marcus said. Everyone got quiet to hear what he heard. After a few minutes, nothing. I don't hear anything. Danielle started, but then there was a rustling in the bushes. Okay, I know you heard that, guys. Okay, yeah, that's probably just an animal. Maybe it's a fox or something. Relax, guys. Hey, you sure it wasn't a Sasquatch? Irene joked. The rustling continued. In fact, it got louder. Then, there was a smell. A horrible, putrid, rotting smell. It reeked of bowel and rotted wood, and it was coming from right behind them. Oh, gross. What's that awful smell? Danielle asked. Marcus! Irene shot Marcus an accusatory look, her voice dripping with irritation. That's not me! I bathed today, and I even wore new cologne. Marcus's voice matched Irene's irritation. Guys, it's not any of us. It's coming from over there. Danielle pointed to the bushes behind them. The stench was so potent, they could see the fumes exuding from the foliage. Did something die back there? Ugh. The smelled like a dead carcass. This was something unlike anything they've ever come across. I say we check out, man, Danielle said, grabbing a flashlight. I say we stay here, Marcus said, stuffing his face with more s'mores. I say we go home, Irene finally chimed in. How could you eat at a time like this? Danielle stared in disbelief at the inordinate amount of graham crackers and chocolate and marshmallows that Marcus has been just stuffing in his face. Nom, 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 nom. It took forever for him to finish chewing before he could respond. I eat when I get scared. Yeah, you must be scared a lot, Irene said. Quiet, you! Both of you, quiet. Come on, Danielle said sternly. They all grab their flashlights and they walk over to the source of the smell. There they found the largest pile of poop that they'd ever laid eyes on. It was a disgusting pile ripe with fumes emanating from every inch of its chunky yogurt-like mound. Oh my God, I'm gonna be sick. Marcus leaned to his left and he vomited every single s'more that he ate. In that moment, he felt a slight sense of loss. Ew, gross, Irene said, jumping back. Stop goofing around, guys. Let's find whatever did this. Danielle said, no, let's get the heck out of here. Marcus said he was still reeling over his loss of s'mores. Quit being such a baby, Danielle proclaimed. She ran off into the woods, tracking the creature who had left them such a nasty surprise. Marcus and Irene ran after Danielle and eventually caught up with her. They had followed the creature's tracks to a cave. The cave was covered in moss, slime, fungus. The same horrid smell was inside, but stronger. It nearly sent the three of them careening to the ground in nausea. Then they heard the sound. A roar. No, more like a moo. They were all wrong. What is that sound? Irene said. Look over there. Oh my God, it can't be. Danielle's mouth was agape in fear and horror. Just beyond some bushes was a large, stinky, and somewhat bloated Sasquatch. It labored out of its cave, clutching its stomach. It farted and it sounded like a car backfiring. Blah! The stench was relentless. Ugh. Marcus retrieved bandanas from his pocket, one of which he had planned to wear on his head. Instead, Irene, Danielle, and Marcus were wearing them around their face. Its stomach is hurt, Irene said a little louder than she meant to, and the Sasquatch knew it wasn't alone. Stomach hurt, it said through his garbled, grunting speech. Then Marcus noticed empty candy bar wrappers near the creature's right foot. Look, Marcus said. Poor thing must have ate all our candy bars. I thought one of you guys had done that. Hurt bad. The poor creature rocked back and forth in an intense abdominal pain. Hey, no worries, big guy. I brought Pepto-Bismol. Marcus retrieved a bottle of the pink stuff from his bag. So you just brought Pepto-Bismol with you? Danielle said. Well, I plan to eat a lot of s'mores. Marcus gave the creature a bottle of Pepto-Bismol, which it proceeded to drink. After 10 minutes, it belched, burp, farted, and scampered off to the pond, where it spent the next 10 minutes relieving itself. And when it came back, it had a smile on its face that just beamed with Sasquatch relief. You feel better, friend? Feel better, it said. Then it waved goodbye and it wandered back into its cave. So Sasquatch is real, and Chocolate doesn't agree with him, Danielle said in utter shock. As far as excitement goes, it'll be tough to top this. Do you think the elders will believe us? Irene said. We should tell them anyways. I mean, besides tourists, I've also seen poachers up here. Maybe we can convince the elders to keep his existence a secret. I mean, it's not like he's dangerous. He seems rather gentle. Just keep Chocolate away from him, Danielle said, and with that, the three of them picked up the camp and they headed home. 2 months later, the tourism in town and on the res began to die out. Fewer and fewer tourists came as the stories of the Sasquatch became less and less frequent. However, in the glade, away from prying eyes, hidden in the Coeur d'Alene forest, were Irene, Danielle, and Marcus, hanging out with their friend, who loved chocolate-free s'mores. And after telling the elders, the tribe decided to keep the creature's existence a secret after all. Though legends of the encounter swirled among the townfolk, they were only seen as stories and nothing more. But as the stories go, if you go deep into that forest in Coeur d'Alene, you can hear the laughter of the teenagers who wandered too deep and got lost, and the loud roars of the mighty Sasquatch.
Brought to you by the same team that brought you the #1 Amazon new release, Indigenous Legends.
Grandma, tell us the story. Come on.
I'll tell you a story when we'll get over here and sit down and kind of rest a little bit, okay?
Gather up the kids, add some extra wood to the fire, and prepare yourself for the scariest stories in Native country.
I'm glad that all you kids are here. You know, I'm going to tell you a story. That's how we learned our history, through stories.
Your friends, children, and grandchildren will drop their s'mores, burn their hot dog weenies, and run screaming for the hills. when you crack open Moose Bumps, Scary Stories from the Res. Every story has been youth tested and elder approved, but only the bravest can make it through each one. Moose Bumps is here.